Welcome back into another episode of Top Shelf presented by Enterprise. Big trips, sudden detours, or last-minute plans. Whatever it is, we're here for it. Fellas, we're back, and we're back to talk about the NHL. I'm your host, Levi Smith, joined by Kyle Cushman, John Matisz, Josh Wegman. We took a couple weeks off to talk about the Olympics, had a lot of fun doing that, but we haven't really talked NHL, current state of the league, on here in quite some time, and that's what we're here to do today in the fashion of forcing some trades, because there is no trades going on right now at all. Yet. There is a massive drought in the NHL. Not that we normally expect a ton, but that American Thanksgiving kind of quarter of the season mark is usually when we expect to see a little bit start to pick up. I was trying to figure out like some historical trades around this time, and the one that really jumped out to me was who could forget Alex Steen and Carlos Koliakovo for Lee Stepniak, Toronto Maple Leafs trade. Classic trade. Who could forget that one? But yeah, we're kind of at this point of the season where, yes, it's not that far in, but at the same time, the teams that are in have kind of established themselves.
There's a few teams that are sweating right now.
The teams that are out are starting to wonder, like, they're starting to already look at, are we going to be buyers or sellers at the deadline? Like, you don't know where you are. So, yeah, that American Thanksgiving is a perfect benchmark. We're going to have 6 teams here. You guys all think that they need certain things, and you're all going to tell me what. We're going to put together some trade packages, so I'm excited to see how this goes. We can just get right into it with you, Josh. And the first team on this list, the Montreal Canadiens, who are sitting at third in the Atlantic right now. They're in a playoff spot for a second straight year, looking like they'll be in the playoffs, I would assume, especially with some other teams in that division. The Leafs not looking so good. So they're probably going to be buyers at the deadline. What do you think they need, and what's the package look like for the Habs?
I think their biggest hole is very obvious. It's second-line center. In the offseason, there's a lot of hope maybe for Sidney Crosby, but I don't think that's happening anymore with the Penguins having a pretty good year. So I've got them trading for Nazem Kadri from the Calgary Flames, and I think the fit would just be absolutely perfect. Kadri grew up a Habs fan, actually, if you remember, which is, makes it a little sweeter, but he's also just a great player. Ivan Demidov really needs a running mate on that second line. Kadri is tenacious. He's feisty. He can be responsible defensively. He can create offense. So I know the Flames president came out and said recently that we need more Kadris, not less. But I think an offer that could tempt him is what I have proposed here. We got Kirby Dach, Owen Beck, Oliver Kapanen, and a first-round pick and a second-round pick going the other way.
Yeah,
that's a lot
big
of
package.
stuff.
Big package, right? And it's like, that's probably the kind of package that you need to propose to Calgary to actually move the needle, right? Because they did come out very recently and say, exactly, we need more Kadris, not less. And so that's where my hang-up is here for this fit. I think it's a great fit if you can try to pry him out of Calgary, but how realistic do you think it is to actually get him out of Calgary this season?
I think if Calgary season keeps going the same way, because I think they could be saying this just to drive the price up, make teams push a little harder for him.
Do you think the Flames are that smart, though?
I like to think they are, but I don't know. But I could see this happening, yeah. I mean, especially, again, the season keeps going the way it is. They may have no choice but to be sellers. And maybe Kadri's like, hey, if you can move me to a contender or a team in the mix anyway, I don't want to necessarily call the Habs a contender, but if you can move me to a playoff team, I would appreciate that, and maybe they do right by him. And obviously Montreal is a place he'd probably be willing to go, given his fandom growing up.
I do like the fit, like, on the ice in the moment, but the package is a little too steep. If I'm Montreal, like, I don't think they're that desperate for Kadri. They're probably desperate for a second-line center, but, like, that's a lot of assets. And then also you think long-term, okay, Kadri's 35. He's got 3 more seasons after this one with his contract. It seems like it doesn't make him a negative asset, obviously. He's still a positive asset, but there's something to consider there in terms of what the Habs would be taking on contractually. So I think, like, Oliver Kapanen is the one guy that jumps out where it's like, are they going to kind of give up on this 22-year-old, or is he part of their top 9? Right now he's in the top 6, sort of underqualified to be there. But, like, he seems like the one where you could pull him out of the equation and maybe Calgary would still do it. But I do like the idea of Kadri and Demidov cooking on the second line.
Yeah, so my thinking is, too, I'm not giving up any of Montreal's top prospects. They're keeping Michael Hayes. They're keeping Zurofsky. Beck's maybe like a third line guy. Kapanen has been playing second line, but maybe ultimately he's a third line guy too. So they're not giving up a ton of stealing. It's more quantity than quality. So that's why I think Montreal might be willing to pull the trigger.
I like it. I mean, considering, like you said, that's his hometown team, according to him. Maybe that moves the needle a tiny bit. It's not like, he's going to try and force his way to San Jose or something. Calgary probably shuts stuff like that down. But I like it. It's a hot start. A name of that magnitude to kick us off. Nicely done, Josh. That's all I got. I got credit for you. On to the next. So I didn't explain this part. We're doing 3 teams in the East, 3 teams in the West. So the second team in the East, doing a little bit better than the Habs right now. The Carolina Hurricanes, first in the Metro. They've got 34 points. They're actually tied for first in the East with the Lightning. John, what do the Hurricanes need? I feel like they're every single season they're buyers now. They always make a big splash. What do you think they're going for?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go with more need than like the big home run splash like they've done with a Rantanen or Gensel in the past. Right-hand defenseman. I think that if you look on their blue line, it's pretty much all lefties leading that crew. It's Slavin, it's Nikishin, it's Miller, and then you get to Chatfield, you get to Walker, and then obviously Gostisbehere is in there as well. So I like Justin Falk going to Carolina and throwing Gostisbehere back to St. Louis in this deal with also Kurbin Limitov, a young Russian defenseman, big dude in the KHL, and then a draft pick. So you're sort of the thing with St. Louis is that I feel like they're really trying to turn over that blue line, and we could sort of pick holes or poke holes into like their decision making there, but it's clearly a point of emphasis. So I think this helps do that. Justin Falk has this year at $6.5 million, next year at $6.5 million. I think that works well with a Carolina team that likes to keep their books clean. This isn't a long-term commitment. And I think, Justin Falk at 6.5, maybe it's like slight overpay, but still, like it's not a crazy contract. So I think the Hurricanes like that. And then you look at just on the ice with Falk, super fast skater, and he's also a workhorse. So, you look over his 15-year career, he's averaging 23 minutes a night over his full career. Like, he's just been a complete dog in that sense. And, will he play 23 minutes in Carolina? Probably not. But the thing about Carolina's system is that it requires guys to not only be quick, but also be workhorses. Like, they pressure like crazy in the offensive zone, neutral zone, defensive zone. There's just a lot of skating. Right. So I think that Falk really fits in there. And then with Gostisbehere going out the door, Falk comes in as a power play quarterback, and it's sort of, okay, their power play hasn't been great this year, partly because Gostisbehere has been hurt, but like let's try a new quarterback and sort of change the mix on our back end with sort of the overarching theme of he's a righty, and he sort of fixes our lefty-righty issue. So, there's bigger swings that they could take, and I think they probably will when they get close to the deadline, but when I look at their team right now, I see a blue line that could really need just like that extra piece to unlock everything else.
So as much as I like Falk in Carolina, I do wonder if St. Louis is going to sell him, because they don't have to right now, because like you said, he has 2 more years left. I think a top 4 right-handed D, they could probably try and get a first-round pick from another team, because if you look at, say, what Boston got for Brandon Carlo last year, similar situation, getting a first-round pick and a prospect.
Quite a bit cheaper, though.
Yes, for sure. But I think Falk also has a little more to offer than Carlo. So
yeah, I may have undersold Falk in terms of like what St. Louis should be getting back. I'll admit that. Maybe the package is a little light, but I think that they just seem like a team that's kind of hunting for a new core and ready to throw some guys overboard. And I mean, like, let's face it, Justin Falk is in the trade rumor mill. I'm not just kind of bringing this out of nowhere.
Yeah, he's got age on Gostisbehere too, so like there's that at least for St. Louis where they're getting someone a little bit younger.
Yes,
shoots different ways. So. Yeah, I don't mind this one at all. A little home reunion, too. We've got a reunion theme, it feels like, going on here.
Former Kane.
Yeah. We'll see if that continues here. Kyle, you've got the New Jersey Devils. They're back in playoff contention again, second in the Metro right now, 33 points. I feel like they had a really nice-looking roster last year where we were like kind of saying, this is one of the more complete ones. They've got like the youth. They've brought in Timo Meier, really shaped things up. Didn't work out for them.
Jack Hughes injury,
injury as well. Guy is always hurt. No disrespect to Jack Hughes, but figure it out, man.
Sometimes you just fall at a team dinner. Sometimes it happens, right?
So it's always a tough spot to be in when, your star player is getting hurt at team dinners. But what do the New Jersey Devils need, in your mind, Kyle, to take a bigger step in the playoffs this year?
Well, if Jack Hughes is going to be hurt all the time, the answer is one more Hughes bro, right? Like, this is the big storyline that everyone is waiting to see play out, right? It's Vancouver's bottom 3 in the NHL right now. and it's the lingering what's going to happen with Quinn Hughes here. He's got 2 years left on his contract. He's extension eligible this upcoming summer. Is he going to re-sign? What's the situation there? And if the indication starts to become, this isn't going to happen, we got to figure out what we can do to maximize the value here. Are you going to get more value from Quinn Hughes by trading him sooner or later? Sooner is obviously going to be the answer there, just because a team is going to get 2 playoff runs with him, get to extend him, all that kind of stuff. And of course, the fit is with New Jersey, just given his 2 brothers are there. So what would a trade look like now to convince the Vancouver Canucks to trade Quinn Hughes? Well, it's a big package, right? Like, you not only have to convince a team to trade Quinn Hughes, you also have to convince a team to trade him to the team that everyone has been like, oh, this star player is leaving for this team for forever. So it's got to be a lot to be able to move him, and it's a pretty hefty package that I have here. I have Dawson Mercer being involved, I have Jonas Siegenthaler involved, Seamus Casey, and then 2 first-round picks as well. I think if you are trying to convince the Canucks to move him now and have Quinn Hughes join this team already, you got to pay up to try and get that extended window and not just kind of wait or hope that you can get him in like a year and a half time for free. I think ultimately when you look at the pieces that a team like New Jersey could give up, there's a bunch of different packages you could go with. I think you maybe sell a little bit higher on Dawson Mercer given the season that he's having right now. I think somebody like a Jonas Siegenthaler is somebody that you've got a couple of other players in that mold on the blue line. Like, we haven't seen Jonathan Kovacevic play it all this season. I think he's a guy that can maybe play a bit more of that defensive role. Casey is the guy that is always tossed into Devils trade rumors just because of the glut of defensemen they have there, and then a couple first-round picks. Because if the New Jersey Devils have Quinn Hughes on their team, nobody cares about where they're drafting. So ultimately, look, this is a huge package, and what are the odds that this happens right now? Probably a little bit lower, but I think as the season progresses, if the Canucks don't pull their way out of the basement, and if we get out of the Olympic break, and then all of a sudden it's like pretty obvious that Quinn Hughes is not leaning towards re-signing at all, I think the Canucks will be best to pull the trigger sooner rather than later, and I think it's better for the Devils to pull the trigger sooner rather than later, so you don't get maybe beat to the chase by like a Red Wings who could really use a Quinn Hughes, or like a Philadelphia, teams like that. So I think it would be best for everybody involved to get this done sooner rather than later, and that's why I got this big, huge trade package for Quinn Hughes.
This is really, really fun. Honestly,
this.
like just the idea too of 3 brothers playing on the same
Come
team
on.
together
It's the best.
would be so cool. So my sort of hang up with it is I think it's more likely an off-season thing, like you said, more teams may be involved, get the bidding a little higher. But if Vancouver was going to swing this deal mid-season, I think maybe one prospect with a bit more upside, like maybe a Nemitz or a Salayev instead of a Seamus Casey, I think maybe we have a good deal.
This is just crazy to me in terms of like where Vancouver is, like, you know, putting aside going to New Jersey, but like how'd they find themselves in this situation where they extend 3 guys to their core in the offseason, and now they're staring down the reality of Quinn Hughes leaving. And, you know, it's like if Quinn Hughes wants to leave, like, you got to sort of figure that out, and this is a solution to that. But it's also, even if he's not leaving, you're sort of catering to Quinn Hughes in some ways. Like, hey, you're going to resign. Yeah. So they're just stuck really in this, like, lose-lose situation in a lot of ways. And, you know, on top of that, another layer is that they seem to be a team that doesn't want to fully rebuild. And obviously, in the summer, those extensions, that does not help speed up the process of a rebuild. So it's so dicey to, like, put all your eggs in the Quinn Hughes basket. If he says, you know, hey, maybe I'm open to staying, because then you're going to him, hey, what do you think about this guy that we're about to acquire? And it just becomes awkward, almost like Connor McDavid this summer in the Oilers, where you're doing everything to please one player, and that's scary territory if you're a Canucks fan.
I wonder too, like, if Quinn Hughes is like, listen, guys, like, I won't be back, and do the Canucks respond with like, oh, okay, go play with your brothers? Like, here we go, we'll put together a nice little package, and we'll get you to go play. Like, they might just be like, no, dude, like, we're shipping you to Anaheim. Actually, that would be awesome. Anaheim, can't throw them into these conversations anymore. My apologies, Anaheim.
Nashville is probably
Nashville's the kicking
I hope.
punching bag now.
Yeah, get ready to learn Nashville, buddy. So
Hughes for Yossi, we heard it here first.
Okay, there we go.
So I do think, obviously, the thing with this any Quinn Hughes trade is, though, to maximize the return, the team acquiring him is going to want to know if he'll sign an extension there.
Obviously,
and then you got to get
with the Devils. I guess it's assumed.
It's
even
assumed,
if they can't figure it out. In
but
the
if he's,
moment,
you know, if Quinn's more willing to sign with multiple teams, then hey, that could create
that's
a
the
bidding
thing.
war, and that's what you want.
It's another one of those situations. You don't get to see them very often when there's these very very specific situations. A guy having two brothers playing on another team being that, where it's like, yeah, you'd think that his mind is made up. Yeah, I want to go play with those guys. But you never know. There could be definitely other packages that the Canucks would consider. I would be interested to see, too, if other teams in the league think that they have a chance to pry him off, like, despite the fact that they don't have two of his brothers on their team. So
yeah, the one I look at there is the Red Wings, like I mentioned there,
Yeah.
because they spent time in Michigan, obviously went to the University of Michigan. I think the Red Wings could obviously use that huge boost that kind of levels them up in terms of having that star player there,
Yeah.
and they have the assets to make a trade work. So I think that's the other team to really watch if the Quinn Hughes stuff becomes less of a we'll wait and see kind of conversation like it is right now and becomes more of a reality over the course of the season.
Yeah, totally. All right, so those are our three East teams. All of those trades, ton of fun. We're going to move to the West, and we're starting with the team, actually, the only team that we have in this entire group that's not in the playoffs right now, probably because we are assuming they will be in the playoffs. They do this every single year. Edmonton Oilers. I mean, this exercise might be getting tiresome for some. Well, what do the Oilers need? It's the same conversation every single year. They've shopped around. There's one position that they've never gone after, it seems like. Josh, do the Oilers need a goalie? Where are you at with this team? They're only a point out of the playoffs, I will say, but the West is backed up right now, so they got to do some scratching and clawing to really establish themselves. What do the Oilers need?
Yeah, they cannot get past the trade deadline with the Stuart Skinner, Calvin Pickard tandem.
I think I've heard
it's
this
got to be
before.
a goalie. So I've got them acquiring Jordan Binnington from the St. Louis Blues at
Oh boy.
50% salary retained for a second, a third, a fifth, and Calvin Pickard. Throw him in.
That's
go
it
the
for
other way.
50% retained?
Yeah. So I'm trying to model this sort of after the John Gibson trade in the offseason. That was a second, a fourth, and Mrazek, so I'm bumping it up to a third, adding a fifth for the retainment. Binnington's having a terrible year. Let's be honest.
Good sell job.
Let's be honest, but hey, this is a goalie we've seen can turn it on like that.
Yeah.
He's a big game goalie, and as we know, the Oilers always seem to be playing in big games. So, and I wonder if the new environment could help him. I wonder if having him with Stuart Skinner helps take the load off Skinner, and maybe he plays better too in a tandem rather than a situation where he's got to be the guy, or we have some journeyman named Calvin Pickard going in there. So that's what I got for the Oilers to address the goaltending hole.
My mind immediately goes to, is this a lateral move? Is this solving anything? But then you look around the league and it's like, what are their other options? Like, I suppose
They have to do something, right?
Yeah, you could take a chance on another guy who maybe has more upside or like a stronger season.
That felt like the Connor Ingram move, though, right?
Yeah, which he hasn't ended up in the NHL. I guess they're still waiting on that, but
I mean,
yeah.
Bennington's upside is super high.
Yeah.
We know when he's on his game, he's as good as anyone. He's had good showings in the playoffs recently, but yeah, obviously his floor is extremely low. One of the worst goalies in the league.
To that point, that's where I think this package is way too low in terms of what the Blues would actually do. Because if this is a trade that the Blues would accept, we probably would have been seeing Jordan Binnington in an Oilers jersey for like the past year almost.
It's true.
Especially considering you have the Olympics coming up. Like, if this trade happens before the Olympics, maybe it's a lesser trade package that you get back. But if Binnington starts for Canada at the Olympics and he wins gold, like, what's that trade package look like for you instead?
That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
maybe I don't know if it's a first-round pick, but maybe there's some additional prospects in there.
Like, I
but
think if Binnington wins gold for Canada, I think you're talking about first plus for Jordan
interesting.
Binnington.
Wow.
I'm
Yeah.
wondering, because obviously the Olympic performance, I think, factors in any package that gets done for him. I'm wondering, can his stock even take a hit? Because he's looked so terrible this year.
Yeah.
If he does a classic Jordan Binnington and gets pulled in a game and lets in like 4 or 5 weak goals, I don't know if the asking price is going to go down, because that's kind of how, if you're acquiring Jordan Binnington based on what we've seen in NHL hockey this year, that's kind of, that's always like the back of your mind. That could be the guy that you're getting. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, where it's like, yeah, if any team, the Oilers, obviously, if they want to get a deal done for him, it has to be before the Olympics, because I'd only think that the price goes up. That's where I'm kind of at with this.
The reason I think it could still happen after is there's not a lot of other teams that are interested in trading for a veteran goalie.
Yeah, it's true.
So the market could be a little deflated.
Yeah, it's certainly a very interesting circumstance where you don't really see this in any other sport, where you have the league of the sport, an event that happens that can completely alter the course of a guy's, where he's going to go, what's his worth and stuff, which is a very interesting spot to be in.
Let me jump in for a second, because you got retained salary there. So I think part of the problem why we haven't seen many trades is that there's a few factors at play. One, there aren't many sellers. 2, there's a playoff salary cap now. So say, Barkov being out all regular season. Normally the Panthers probably would have gotten a replacement. There's a few teams like that where they're just let's not spend that money because our guy's coming back. So that eliminates some trades. And then there's a retention factor where under the new CBA, you can retain twice only if it's within, only if
it
it's
has to be separated by 90 days.
75 days, I think
Something
it
like
is.
that, yeah.
So it's you have to make a trade now that has retention, and then a trade in 2 months and a half. So it's it makes things very difficult, whereas before you just toss a third team in there that takes 25%, 33.3, whatever, and you can sort of make the money work. Mind you, there is more cap space than usual, so maybe the retention thing isn't that big of a deal, but I did just want to throw it out there in terms of the environment currently is not super welcoming to trades because there's these variables that are really bumping up against any sort of trade happening.
Yeah. The NHL should really be making more changes to promote trades rather
they should.
than
so
that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, we don't need to have that one here. Okay, Edmonton acquiring Jordan Binnington. That'll look sweet on a thumbnail, I'm sure. People that's what you guys came here for, maybe the Hughes trade as well. But we still got 2 left, and we still got 2 teams that are very, very fun this year that will definitely be looking
arguably the 2 most fun teams to watch this
I
season.
think so. I think on the fun meter, this is one, maybe even 1A, 1B, just given we'll get to the second team. But John, Colorado Avalanche, tell me what could this team possibly need right now? They're overflowing with talent, but what do you think that they're a piece away from really securing being the number 1 cup contender?
Yeah, needs probably a strong word for an 18-1-6 team on pace, to break the record for most points in a season. But if we look at their lineup, I mean, they could use a sort of playoff warrior winger type to fit into their top 9, and that's Kiefer Sherwood for me, a guy who is, potentially available out of Vancouver, a pending
definitely
UFA.
Available out of Vancouver.
Well, actually, the thing about that I've heard is that he's it's sort of on the fence. It's all sort of up in the air in terms of my information, where he might re-sign in Vancouver, he might get traded and sign with that team, or he might get traded and go to UFA. Things are very up in the air. I mean, him re-signing in Vancouver is probably the least likely, but it's not a 0% chance.
Right.
So Colorado gets Kiefer Sherwood for Gavin Brindley and a second-round pick. And how I like Sherwood in Colorado's lineup is with Ross Colton and Jack Drury on that third line to really solidify it and bump some no-namers, if we're being honest, further down the lineup. And, this guy's fast, so he can play in Colorado's system. He has 568 hits over the last 2 seasons. I looked it up this morning. Will Cooley's second at 360 or something. He's almost 200 hits more.
Insane.
And he doesn't really take that many penalties. He gets the odd, penalty here and there. But for how physical he is, for how hard he is on the forecheck, it's actually pretty incredible. There's a certain art to what he's doing. So I like the idea of Colorado not sitting on their hands, taking action. And whether this includes an extension, I mean, if I'm Kiefer Sherwood, you're returning back to an organization you used to be in, and you're on a juggernaut of a team. It's, maybe there's something there.
Yeah.
But he's also looking for a big payday, so we'll see what happens. But I do like Sherwood going to the Avalanche here.
I think any team could use a guy like Kiefer Sherwood, right? He's every coach would love having this guy almost on every line if they could. Getting a million hits, scoring big goals. Yeah. I like this for Vancouver going the other way, though. Brindley has shown a bit of juice. I'm surprised Columbus gave up on him as quickly as they did in that trade for Charlie Coyle. So I think that's a solid piece, too, to get back for Vancouver, who wants some young players in their lineup.
And obviously, maybe he commands a first-round pick, given, there's not a ton of rentals out there and, sort of the playoff
If he keeps scoring
quality.
like this, he might. But
I could see it turning into a first, but I put a second there for now.
Yeah, I was going to say, what kind of bidding war do you think there could be?
Yeah, it could be pretty fierce.
He's the kind, like you mentioned there, Josh, he's the kind of player that every team wants.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's a fascinating one. And, in terms of the fit with Colorado, there's a lot of Logan O'Connor there as well in terms of this kind of straight line speed. Maybe not the guy that you look to for offense, even though he's certainly provided that this season. But I like that mix there in terms of some guys that have had success in Colorado as well.
And I think Brindley would be a real positive asset going out the door for the other team where, well, in this case, obviously, the Canucks, where he's signed for, I believe it's 2 more years after this at $875. He's a real bargain at this point.
Yeah, he's still ELC.
Yeah.
I
he
mean,
re-signed,
We
So I
saw
think it's 2 years.
We saw what the Avs did last year with the I feel like a team making a big splash for a first or second line guy. I don't know how often that team ends up going on and winning the whole thing. Where we saw Colorado do it last year. Where they had a massive switch up there with Rantanen and H's and stuff.
Yeah.
When you kind of temper or mess with that I don't always trust it. So bringing in a guy like this for a team this good, like when you're this good, you don't need to get anybody out the door, really. I think this is the perfect move. Like, just give yourself a little bit more aggression and fierceness. Like, that's exactly what Colorado needs without messing with any of the chemistry going on too much. So, definitely in favor of this trade. One more left.
We did see the Panthers get Marchand last year, though.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
there is a
that's
little
true.
bit of both, but typically it's usually the more
Like Tampa Bay when they got
lesser
Gord and
moves and-
Coleman, and
Yeah.
they sort of worked
around the
bottom six.
fringes a little bit more,
Yeah.
even though that line was like
Pretty
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. I guess I shouldn't exactly be saying, oh, don't acquire good players. Like, they're not going to be, they're going to mess with everything. But I think it does. Adding a depth guy like a Kiefer Sherwood who can make such an impact outside of actually scoring and isn't going to need his touches exactly is, I think, the perfect recipe for a team as good as the Avs are. One last team. A team almost as good as the Avs are for the first time in a long time. I don't know, like, if we were to do this show for the last 10 years, I don't know if the Anaheim Ducks would ever have been in the quarter season, oh, this team's going to make a huge splash, like they're playoff bound, but that's exactly where the Ducks are. First place in the Pacific, 33 points. They look awesome. Kyle, what do they need to keep the ball rolling, and who is it going to be?
Yeah, the Ducks, I think we were all maybe expecting to have this kind of breakout next season, maybe just with the new head coach and the progression of some young players, maybe have that big jump next season. But it's been so much fun to watch this team really progress, like seeing what like Leo Carlson's doing and a bunch of those young guys. I look at this team, top of the Pacific, like you mentioned there. Why not go out and really solidify things this season and go for it this year? Like, you have some flexibility with some young guys still on ELCs that are yet to really have their big ascensions. Go out and make a fun move. And I think when I look at this roster, there's a lot of good offensive pieces. I want to see another center added to that mix, and obviously with a young team trying to push into the playoffs for the first time in multiple years, some Stanley Cup experience always helps with that. So for me, the fit here is obvious, and it's Ryan O'Reilly. He's a $4.5 million player, signed for another season after this, so it's not like it's a one-year rental type thing for the Ducks. And the idea of rolling Carlson and then McTavish and then O'Reilly down the middle moves Ryan Poehling to fourth-line center, moves Mikael Granlund to the wing as well, where I think he's much better suited. All of a sudden, you have a three-headed monster down the middle. You have a lot of intriguing wingers on the wing there as well. You can roll three lines in the playoffs and be pretty good.
Yeah.
And O'Reilly is still a very good player who is leading the Predators in scoring. Now, that's obviously
It's the Predators.
not
so-
exactly the
Greatest
same thing,
accomplishment.
but the fact that he's still producing at
Yeah.
least somewhat in Nashville, and then obviously would be going to a much lesser role, at least at 5-on-5 and the power play and things like that in Anaheim. I love the fit, and then obviously he's a Conn Smythe winner, has been there, done that with the Blues. I love the fit of a guy like that coming in, playing under somebody like Quenneville, and being a guy who just adds this layer of experience, adds this almost security blanket behind all those young guys going into unknown territory in the playoffs. And the trade package for me is a pretty simple one. It's a one-for-one swap here with Pavel Mintyukov, a guy that is very unique on the trade market, where you're not going to be finding a top 10 pick defenseman who has played as much as he has in his young career available on the trade market. Could you get a package of like a first-round pick and a younger prospect for somebody like Ryan O'Reilly? Absolutely. But in terms of the upside of somebody like Mintyukov, I don't think you're finding that anywhere else, because even though he's been pushed down the lineup a little bit, he's played over 20 minutes a couple of games in the past couple of weeks since that trade request kind of came out. I love his upside as this potential top pairing, really offensive, gifted defenseman. And again, you're not getting that kind of potential with a mid to late round first round pick and some kind of B+ prospect. So I love the fit in terms of the player you're acquiring for Nashville. He steps into your lineup immediately, depending on whatever their timeline they still expect, or whether they want guys who can step in right away, whatever their timeline is there. And I love the fit of O'Reilly with the Anaheim Ducks. So that's the combination of center depth and Stanley Cup experience I'm going with for the Ducks here.
With the Predators, like, you hit on it there, where it's like, we don't quite know what Barry Trotz is doing. Like, it depends.
Neither does Barry.
Yeah,
apparently.
Barry might not either. It depends on the day of the week if he's thinking rebuild or retool. And I know it's all like sort of like semantics or whatever, but Mintyukov works for both those timelines. Like, if you want to turn this over
He just turned
quickly,
22,
Yeah.
so he fits for both.
if you want to turn it over quickly, thumbs up. If you want to go deeper, well, you know, you're going to give him a ton of minutes, and he's still very young, and, you know, let him sort of figure it out from there. So I like that a lot in terms of, you know, Nashville's had a bunch of top picks lately. Like, obviously, this one wouldn't be high in the draft. So it's like, yeah, take the former top 10 pick and see what you got there. And then I like Ryan O'Reilly. Like, I think the Stanley Cup experience is almost just as valuable as what he would be bringing, night to night. As far as, like, you look at that Anaheim lineup, and you've got like Jacob Trubas and a couple of guys that have kind of gone
Alex
deep.
Killorn is the one guy there, but
Killorn.
then if you have like Killorn who's done that with the Lightning, and then you have another guy who's done that with the Blues, I think that's a lot of intriguing experience to have in that kind of locker room.
And it seems like a guy that Pat Verbeek would acquire. I think Kadri could be one as well, and he also has a cup, but Ryan O'Reilly seems to fit the mold pretty well in the Ducks.
So I do wonder for Nashville's side, just with O'Reilly having term on his contract, maybe they want a bit more. I know Mintyukov still has some upside, but he's also been trending in the wrong direction.
I don't know how to gauge his trade value.
It's really difficult.
He had, like,
I think
2 points last
maybe
night,
if we add a pick to this, maybe like a second or third, I don't know about a first, but I think Nashville would want just a bit more just in case Mintyukov doesn't pan out, and then it's like, oh, you traded.
O'Reilly's contract is unreal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they don't.
That's the big
the
thing,
hand's not
right?
being forced, so I think they would probably ask for a bit more.
Yeah, that's the one thing that gave me some pause here is like, how much is Mintyukov worth? Like the top 10 pick thing, 10th overall, but it still counts, right?
Yep.
Has played in the league this is his 3rd season, great pedigree with Saginaw in the OHL, like high-end offensive defenseman potential. That's what everyone's looking for. He's not small either at like 6'1", 6'2", like ticks a lot of the boxes, but then also his minutes has dropped like 2 minutes from his rookie season to now per game. Had the trade request. Like, what is the value there in terms of the scale of like the really exciting potential there versus the rookie defenseman who's kind of trended a little bit downwards in his career? Like, I have no clue where that is on that scale.
I love this move, and I love what the Ducks have done, where they've got the young team. They brought in the Chris Kreiders, the Killorns, the Granlunds to kind of fill out the roster with guys who've been there before. And a move like this at the deadline like makes too much sense for me. So I'm just trying to think though, as we were talking about this. So what if we think he's third line? Like, who would he be playing with?
In my mind, it would be like a more veteran third line with Mikael Granlund and Alex Killorn.
Right. So then you have Frank Vetrano and Ryan Strome on your fourth line. Like,
It's a deep team.
Yeah, geez. Like, that's pretty. I mean, Frank Vetrano was playing the first line, I think, like last year there for him. So that's it's a
He was
team.
at the All-Star game.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he was.
They had nothing going on there.
That's a team that certainly could make some noise, and they've got like a solid back end. Yeah, man, I love this. I love this move a lot for the Ducks. I would appreciate them, their first taste of like being a contender, just going all in. Like,
I love that,
immediately. They're like, we gotta do it right now. So yeah, that was fun, man. That was a really good exercise. We got through those 6 teams. Interested to see what if we get any of these right. I would
All
love
6
that.
are coming together.
All 6, yeah, 6 for 6. But I'm just curious
Book
to
it.
see if these are the teams that are going to be making the big splashes when the time comes, because it is early in the season still.
And
There
also
is
on the
time.
flip side, like how many of these teams actually sell at the deadline on the flip side?
Yeah, that's a very good point too. So, all right, one last thing before we get out of here, boys. Get your buzzers out. We are doing
Let's go.
Top Shelf Trivia presented by Enterprise. We're bringing trivia back. I'm looking forward to this. We're talking trades, so naturally my mind goes to career path trivia. We haven't done that on
Been a
this
while.
show
Been a hot minute,
in
yeah.
quite some time. So, I mean, the perfect time to bring it back. I've got 5 active players. First person to buzz in on each one gets it. You're going to be shown the teams in the order that they played for them. Like I said, all active, so I'm hoping you guys should get all of these. You are the
I'm
hockey
putting the
guys.
pressure on now.
But
You guys
yeah,
got to get these.
You're fired.
yeah, we'll see where you stand after 5 rounds. I've got a bonus round in case there's a tie. I'm not expecting there to be one, but we'll see. We'll see how this goes. We'll start off with the first player. There we have it. Colorado, Buffalo, St. Josh in first.
Ryan O'Reilly?
Brian O'Reilly's
Oh,
correct.
very fitting,
Brian
yeah.
O'Reilly's correct. I might have
That was
had that
my
one down
guess.
before he was the very last guy we talked about
There we
there
go.
on the show, but Brian O'Reilly's correct. I couldn't even get the teams off there, but yeah, he's had quite the career on some, like the Colorado Buffalo days now seem like such a
Colorado
Forever.
seems so long
Oh
ago.
my
Yeah, Colorado, I completely forgot about
crazy
that,
he
which
was
is crazy.
there. All right, 1 point for Josh. On to the next team. Next player, sorry. Kyle's
Oh,
in.
no, I'm Oh, wait, no, I am right. Sorry, I thought that was
I'll give him
thought
the
that was
buzzer
Philly there.
courtesy.
It's Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Oliver
I thought that said
Ekman-Larsson.
Philadelphia there at the beginning,
That's
but no,
correct.
it's
I guess
Phoenix.
we should still buzz
Throwback
in
to
if-
Phoenix.
I wasn't
Yeah.
sure. I didn't want to mess with you guys too bad and have like Phoenix, Arizona. So I
That's
just
all
went.
good.
I went Phoenix, Vancouver.
Now,
Florida,
really
Toronto.
throw us for a loop if you put Utah.
Yes. Yeah, that's true actually. Yeah, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. He's had like those stops I guess Florida because he won a cup there.
Yeah,
but
won the cup
Vancouver
there, but
one. I did
Vancouver was
not.
a tough.
Vancouver's paying him
don't
more
know.
than the Leafs right now.
That's insane. I did not remember that. All right, one for Josh, one for Kyle. We got 3 players left. Next guy up.
I just had to get in here. But this
Oh.
is Matt Duchene.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Matt Duchene's correct. That was an interesting
Good
strat
job.
there. He had it in a heartbeat. Yeah, Matt Duchene is absolutely.
I thought Columbus was going to throw you for a loop there.
So did I. Those days, the Columbus, even Ottawa, he was pretty.
That was
good,
peak
actually.
Columbus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
Panarin.
yeah, Matt Duchene.
Yeah,
All right.
That was the upset year.
That was the upset
Yes,
year.
yes,
So we
it
each
was.
got one.
Point for each.
There
2
we
guys
go.
left. I think these 2 guys are the harder 2. So whoever, if one of you guys can get both of these, you win. But we'll see how it goes. On to the 4th player. Whew. Blues, Oilers, Penguins, Ducks, Blues.
David
Golden Knights.
Perron.
Oh,
that's
he's
a
such
good
a
Red Wings,
one.
Senators.
good guy to have in here.
David
Yeah,
Perron
the St.
is
Louis
correct.
twice should have.
Absolute
Well,
gauntlet of a career. I mean, the Penguins,
Edmonton and Pittsburgh.
Anaheim.
Forgot
That's a
about all
crazy
those.
stretch.
Edmonton.
Yeah, the St. Louis twice.
basically like
Yeah.
everything on that back half of his career that's not the Blues or the Senators. Like I was like, there's not. He didn't do that. There's no way.
Pittsburgh,
he
I
was there.
remember
Red
a
Wings
little
is
bit
recent
there.
enough too. But,
Yeah.
If you look at his hockey reference, he's like between 0.4 points per game and 0.6 points per game, like his whole career. It's kind of crazy.
The whole time.
Like
Yeah.
consistently, just like a
Still kicking
top
it too,
9
man.
contributor.
He's
Nothing
probably
too
going back to
special.
St. Louis at some point.
I was gonna
Let's be
say,
real. He's
right?
got one more
I,
stop.
yeah,
One more
I
stop.
feel like there's one more reunion. He'll
Got it.
sign
Look at that
like a-
career. Love
Yeah,
it.
it's awesome for David Perron. All right, Kyle's got 2. The rest of you guys have 1. We've got 1 guy left tentatively. We'll see if either of you can tie it or if he can win. Last guy on the board, a lengthy one again. Tell me who this is.
Oh boy.
Red Wings, Flyers, Canes. Is that Josh?
John, you
or
can take
John
that.
in first.
Mrazik?
Peter Mrazek's
Oh my God, I can't believe I got
Mrazek.
that.
Peter Mrazek's
Yeah,
correct.
I just went off like Detroit and Philly and Carolina. I didn't even
Well
look at the
done.
rest.
Peter
Nicely
Mrazek
done.
Wow.
is correct.
I
Wow.
gotta retire now.
Wow. I mean, for the
Not actually.
first
I'm gonna win.
for the first time watchers here who weren't around last year, I don't know if Josh lost a trivia.
No.
And then now we've got him
He's a
out of the
sicko.
final round here.
Last place.
Yeah, crazy.
A lot
to
of
see.
pressure on now for
Good
us.
for you guys here.
I mean, hey, if we don't get this one and Josh does, I mean,
Yeah,
we could have
no,
a 3-way
no,
tie
no.
if we want.
this one I'm gonna have.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Well,
You're
unless
taking-
they're really stumped.
If
then
we
I-
can't
Yeah.
get it, you can steal.
Then I'll
We'll
come
have a
back.
three-way
and-
tie.
So
but
this one's gonna be hard,
yeah,
eh?
nice to see you guys here. Yeah, I was gonna.
I'm just waiting for one team to pop up.
All right, last but not least, the tiebreaker here for John and Kyle. 5-team player. Kyle's
My
in.
man, Jonathan Marchessault.
Oh,
Jonathan
nice.
Marchessault is correct.
Columbus era,
forgot about
Jonathan
Columbus.
Marchessault.
Yeah.
Jonathan
Wow, that's
Marchessault
good.
is
Well
correct.
done.
I think he
Well
spent
done.
like what 3 or 4 seasons on those first 3 teams. Like just crazy stuff.
Yeah, he was a nobody. at
How
one
many
point.
games did he play for Columbus? Got to be like.
Not
under
many.
10.
Yeah, I was
No,
gonna
maybe,
say
no?
10, 20 maybe.
They're the team that like signed him as like an undrafted free agent. So he was like in the AHL there for a while.
Right.
And then yeah,
For you,
Tampa.
Kyle?
Lake Erie Monsters
While you
legend.
talk about
Yeah,
Jonathan
there you go.
Marchessault's short-lived
Look at
career.
that thing.
There we go.
Shane is
We'll
back.
take it.
Shane is
We'll
back.
take
Nice
it.
to see. Nice to see. That's,
Shout out Jonathan Marchessault.
Shout out Jonathan Marchessault. Shout out. I was thinking about this when we kicked it off, just because. God bless him, but Aiden never got to really put on when he was doing it this time here.
Rough.
I don't know why the career path jogged my memory of his
Hopefully
lackluster
he's watching.
performances. I hope he's watching. We talked about his Flames too, so there you have it. But yeah, feels good to get the trivia vibes back. Nicely done, Kyle. You get to wear that
Bravo.
as long as you want. You can wear that around the city, wherever you want.
Yeah, I wear it nonstop for the next
He
week.
doesn't take it
Yeah.
off, goes to bed
Yeah.
in it. But yeah, it was a great episode, guys. Enjoyed getting back into the NHL talk. Had a lot of fun. So for you guys, for everyone in the production room, thank you so much for all the help. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This has been Top Shelf presented by Enterprise.